So family, welcome back to DOREEN'S African Experiences. The things I promise to do and then I don't do them. What does that make me? I'm very competent, but I have a lot of things to do. I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot to get done. So, I was supposed to have made this live yesterday, but I've been so busy. But I wanted to thank you guys for 7,000 subscribers. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for, being there for me. It means a lot to me that I have you guys to call my YouTube family. It's amazing. So thank you for 7,000 subscribers, guys. Like, for real, thank you. This has reminded me of so many things, how we started. I remember the damn days when I used to hustle with this channel. I had to do so much work. I had to make so many sacrifices. I'm so happy and so glad that I keep growing in this industry. My channel keeps going up and it just keeps getting better and better. And I'm sorry, I know this month has been rough. I've not availed a lot of content to you guys. I've slacked. I really have. I'm not proud of that. I'm not proud that I've slacked. But I want to let you know that I'm going to get much, much better. I've made a lot of improvements. You know what the improvements are. For those of you that know, for those of you that don't know, I'm sure I'll be letting you know. Yeah. Hey, Rose. How are you? Are you okay? Welcome back from your trip. How did it go? Oh, I was sick, but I'm very well now. I'm very well, healthy as a horse. I'm so healthy right now. Yeah. So, yeah, I was here thanking people for all these subscribers. Right now we have 7,000 subscribers. Like, seriously, that's a dream. I am so humbled. I'm so glad. I'm so happy. It means a lot to me that every one of you wants to be a part of my very little family. And I hope to always serve you and continue. Yeah, I know it's quite crazy. I've been so busy at my work. My job has been a bit draining these days. But I've worked around it. I found ways around it, and I should be back to shooting. I was supposed to be back shooting this week, but I'm hoping tomorrow I'll be making some content. I hope things go as planned, But guys, thank you for 7,000 subscribers. I hope by the end of this year we shall be at 10,000 subscribers at least. That means a lot to me. I want to tell you a very simple story. The challenges that you are facing in this industry as a content creator are endless. They are endless. But you also have to understand that a lot of people want to use you, they want to corrupt you. It's imperative that you maintain your goal or your reason for having started creating content. Because the truth is, we lose sight. We lose sight. We forget why we went to do content in the first place. Right now I have so many people that are reaching out to me, wanting to partner, wanting to do this and that. But you have to understand that I did this by myself because I woke up, I pushed myself, I created, you know, and then you guys supported. So the reason all of you have subscribed to my channel is because you appreciate my work and my honesty and my transparency in the past times in all my content. You know, my content is always on point and it's always authentic and it's raw content. The information is raw. I give it as it is. I'm not trying to be something that I'm not. You know, I don't have to please anybody. And somehow I think you guys appreciate that. That's why you've all subscribed. At least for those of you that have subscribed. So it makes me happy. So there is no way I'm going to change and start, you know, doing things for people just because they want to pay me. Nah. There is many ways to make money without selling yourself out. There is a lot of people that are trying to make influencers, content creators sell out on their dreams or on the reasons as why they started creating content, you know? And a lot of people that want to come out and use you. There are so many people because people wait for you to have to grow your channel. They don't care how long it took for you to do it. They just want to come out when everything is where they want it to be. And then they want to come and start using you and try to corrupt you, you know, because these some people, every time you mix yourself with so many people, comes with a lot of drama, you know, comes with a lot of chaos. And a lot of these people have nothing to lose because they can easily move to the next person. But then you have to sit back and then try to create the whole content again or try to create your channel again. So my channel is very peaceful. You know, it is a simple channel about construction and farming. You know, here we farm, we grow food, we try to see how to make lives better. Sometimes we do charities. I do a charity once a year. Every Christmas, I give out food to old people and their families, like a family of old people. I always go back to some of these families, especially the families that need more help here and there. But you have to understand that I don't have much money. So I'm also trying to figure life out. But I always try to share the little that I have, you know, because it's natural. When you're born a giver, you're always going to give. Like there is no need for a camera all the time. Hi, Bohei. Hi. So, yeah, just because we are not documenting, that doesn't mean we're not out here helping and changing lives. We are. And other people are also helping us and changing our lives. So this is an interesting world we live in. Everyone stands or seems to benefit somehow from someone's efforts and someone's hard work. That's why I think people say that no man is an island. Yeah. So thank you for 7,000 subscribers. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I don't know what you're waiting for because I have a lot of content that is quite informative and quite useful, you know. Yeah, and all this content benefits. It's educative. We try to see how to better people's lives with knowledge because knowledge is priceless. Yeah, knowledge is priceless, you guys. Okay, so today I was reflecting on something. Do you know the history of the homeowner and the thief? Do you know the relationship between the homeowner and the thief? Do you know how far the homeowner has come? I was looking at when we were young, we grew up in houses that did not have metallic doors. I know some of you are born of these days, these generations are different. But some of us, we were young in the early 2000s, we were still young. And we still lived in communities with mud houses and wooden doors, okay? So I'm going to tell you something funny, the history of the homeowner and the thief. So when we were younger, we actually, it is so funny, but we didn't have many cases of theft. Why? Because there were very few means of transportation when we were young. People, I'm speaking for my communities or most of my country anyway. When we were young, the only means of transportation would be a bicycle or those small mats, those motorcycles, the small mats that didn't even carry more than one person. I mean, they could carry two people, but really not on a hill or anything. It would be flat surface. Maybe some people carried things on their heads. If you had somebody had a car, you would have like two people in the entire area that had a car, and most of these people didn't care to transport. Yeah, they didn't care to transport you. So these were now the villages. Out of the villages, there were taxis. Yeah, but then that was my era. There were eras before that where there was no cars, where the cars were only in the city. And for this case, the city was Kampala and Entebbe. So that's the only areas that had cars, and the cars were still few. Actually, I've watched videos of the 90s and 80s where the cars would be so few on the road, and there was zero to no accidents, like someone has been knocked by a car. That's like something was so rare. People were driving so carefully, you know. Now, Uh, let's go back to community level. So in my community, most people had mud houses. The people that were building houses that were made out of bricks, still the bricks were made out of mud. And these people were not using cement to mix as concrete or mortar to join the bricks. They were using clay as mortar. Clay is actually very good mortar, but it has to be mixed with something. That's why you see those clay bricks are actually strong, very, very strong. So people, those now the people that were relatively rich, considered rich, back then richness was how much food did this family have, how many farms did this person have, how many kids did this person have. That was what was considered rich. For example, if you have, oh dear, lost in 3 years. This almost seems like a dream. So, preferably, if you saw a family, that's why men back in the day married many wives, because their currency was children. Children were considered valuables because they were used to do hard labor. Because if you had children, you'd take your children to farm food, you take your children to, like, your children literally, the, your children, the number of children you had determined how much food your homestead would have. And another thing, our families back in the day were not living in extended family situation. They were living as a nuclear family. Sorry. They were not living as a nuclear family. They were living in extended family formation. What is extended family formation? They build one big house like here, and then they build small houses around the big house. So you find that the parents are staying in that house. The children are the ones who are staying in the small houses built around, and they've married, and they have children also, which would be the grandchildren. I'd find a few aunties, uncles also building small houses around. That's why if you visit communities right now in northern Uganda that are still living in that situation, they have one big hut in the middle and small huts around, because these were still maintaining their old cultures, living in that formation. Manje, oganza. Obatulabira. Amaliriza.
Sinaliriza naye nkozeeko.
Okoye.
Ngenda eri kujja
So compared to
ensasa.
obwongo bwe.
Ninamu ssente. Sirina.
Ulira ebinusu. Uganda n'ebinusu bye. Omwana yakumpa binusu. Okay, so basically, all these people grew food together, they did chores together, and they thrived as a family. And it was the same for every other family. There was no need to steal anything, by the way, those days. So there was little to no thieves. Actually, what brought thieves, I remember my great grandfather telling me before he passed away. He said that in their community, oh wow, thank you. Thank you, Lions Row. Wow, someone just bought super thanks. Thank you. So my great grandfather told me that thieves only started coming to their communities when you're welcome. It's a personal experience. This is how we grew up. So my great grandfather told me that thieves only started coming to their communities when new people started coming to their communities. You know how right now you can send a message via WhatsApp and this message gets to where you're going instantly? Back in the day, if you had a message to send anywhere, people would collect, they had one person they would call a messenger. And this one person would be told, this is the person who was like a secret keeper. This person knew everyone's business. So this person possibly had a bicycle, right? Like a bike, not a motorbike, but a bicycle with tires and stuff. So this person, people would tell this person, oh, where are you going? Let's say you are going from one state to another. They would say, hi Diana. So they would tell this person, so when you are going, pass by so and so's home and tell them this and this and this. But usually it would be about food. Oh, we are about to harvest maize, or we are about to harvest this. And then this person would go around he would travel for like a week telling or delivering people's messages. Like physically, he would reach the home of this person, introduce himself, and say, I've come from DOREEN'S family in this area, and this person has told me to tell you that this and this and this is happening. Like if someone passed away, when we were young, and if someone died, the only way you would know that someone died, they would plant like a plantain, like leading directions to where they are burying. Yeah. So there are certain things, modes of communication we had when we were young that you would know that, oh, someone died here, without anyone telling you that somebody died. One of them would be planting plantains by the road, and then they would put a different type of leaf on it. But if it was a function, then they would put like flowers on the plantain. But if it was like a burial, they would put like dry banana leaves, dry plantain leaves around it. So you'd know someone died. Yeah, town carrier, indeed. And it was so crazy. And then what about time for photographs? Times have changed. Like things have changed so much. I think sometimes we actually don't appreciate how simple our lives are. There would be one person taking photographs, right? And that person would show up on big days like Christmas. And you don't understand the hassle. People would prepare months in advance for a photograph. Months. God. Hey. He has a beautiful name, Lions Row. It's quite interesting. It sounds like a strong name. So basically, your parents would tell you that they'll take your pictures on this date. So this would be months in advance. So I'm not going to get to the part where they would cut our hair. How they used to cut our hair. In my country, they cut all our hair, boy or girl, when you're young, for school. I think it was something that was part of colonialism back in the day, but they kept it anyway. And it went on. It's still going on in most communities. But they would cut your hair with like how do I put this? A broken glass. There would be some broken glasses. It wouldn't even be glass. So they put a lot of soap in your hair and then it becomes soft enough to cut. And then they would literally trim you off and you'd look so bald, you'd have a shiny head. A shiny head was a sign of being so smart when we were. It's so crazy how we believed these things. Hi, Ashrava Odina. Nice name. You guys have quite interesting names. Never heard of most of these names before. So basically, about the pictures, right? You would find, I kid you not, this was the day you'd get to wear your nice shoes. Actually, you'd get to wear shoes because we didn't grow up wearing shoes. So you'd play, and it was normal for us. Like for real, it was so normal for us to go to be around not wearing shoes. It was normal. And we only would see, every time we saw someone wearing shoes, it would be a sign that this person is a visitor in the area or this person is somehow important. You know, like, why are you wearing shoes? So it was normal for we always played and it was quite normal. So we only wore shoes like on important days, you know, like you have visitors coming, so you kind of have to wear the shoes. And the moment you greet the visitors or the guests, after greeting them, take off the shoes, put them back, and go about your life. Or if you had like you had to go to church, or if it was like Christmas, like it was normal. And this is the thing, this goes to tell you that a lot of people, a lot of things are very normal in a lot of communities, not because they are normal, but because they are normal to those people. So when you show up in communities and you introduce something new, now people are going to start looking at what they were doing in the old way as wrong because you've told them it's wrong. But before you show up in these communities, these people, they think it's okay, it's normal. We used to walk very, very long distances. Like if you had to go to town, you would have to walk. So if you had to go somewhere and they had to send you, you'd have to wake up like at 5. Uncle, for where they're gonna
Banyagala Abib.
Abiba Zeye Wendoza.
Abadde wano.
Abadda Douglas.
Kati.
Agenda mu waggale. Awo babeerayo omunda ayita ku ddinisa ogende olabe. So now about the pictures, right? Yeah, shiny headed people. We would line up, people would be up in the morning. People who took pictures were highly respected, like more respected than elders because they had so much power, you know. We would line up so early in the morning because you're not used to wearing shoes. You'd feel like the shoes are burning you. Like you feel the itch to take off the shoes because you're not used to them. And if you're wearing shoes, you can't play. Your parents will be staring at you. African parents will not shout in public at you. They'll give you that side eye, like an African parent will not shout at you in public. An African parent will give you a facial expression that will tell you, sit down and shut up. Without saying anything, they'll just look at you. And you know. And there were different looks. So we had mastered our elders' looks. So you'd know that this is the look that when you're going home, as soon as you reach, they're going to cane you. You know you are done for. Like, I'm done for. So you'd be waiting for your picture. But someone gave you a look that signified as soon as you get home, you're going to be caned. Today you are not surviving. So you'd be under so much pressure, under so much stress. And every time we committed crimes, we would do certain things. You'd go find, we would tie a knot on grass, different grass crossroads, and we would be so sure that every time we tied this grass, no one was going to no one would punish you. We believed in it so much that if I tie the grass, I've tied the hands of my parents from caning me. I've tied the mouth of my or someone from maybe abusing me or something like that. And we believed that stuff. Hi. Kind of have just WhatsApp me about that. So there is my number in the description of the channel. Just now I cannot exactly start narrating those things to you because there is different types, so I can't start narrating all of them. But I'll definitely tell you what's up and I'll get back to you. Okay? And thanks for watching. Okay, and I would like to believe here we are basically a huge family. No fans here. Oh, far from that. I work 2 jobs. I work so hard. I don't think I have fans. If I had fans, I would not be working this hard. So I believe we are just a couple of people that enjoy the same things, and we've made a small family around those same things that we enjoy. So nonetheless, about the pictures, what's funny is that they'll take your pictures like in December, and it would take you probably 4 or 5 months to get your pictures back. You're welcome, Majestic. So you would wait. Do you remember the line you made to take the picture? It's even what the line you make to get your picture back would be worse. And if you don't like your picture when it's back, there is nothing you can do. These pictures had negatives on them, like behind, negatives that could be, you could use them to regenerate new pictures. And they charged you. Imagine, these guys would charge us. I remember we used to pay 1,000 shillings at that time, but that was a lot of money. That was a lot of money then, you know. So you pay 1,000 for a picture, and then you pay another 1,000 for the negative. When this guy shows up with your picture, and you're not giving him the negative, and you're not giving him money for the negative, he would not give you the negative. And then he would tell you, I will give it to a witch doctor somewhere. Oh God, we were so traumatized. And then you believed him because you don't want your picture in the hands of a witch doctor. Because back then, we didn't have thieves. The people that were most feared were actually witch doctors or traditional healers. Those were the people that were most feared. So if someone would even threaten you, when grown-ups were fighting, the negative was important because if you screamed and looked so close, you'd see yourself in it. Like it would be so tiny and black, but it has like a reflection of image you've been given. So you'd look so close and you'd see, this is me. Honestly speaking, it seemed like a whole different picture as well. And then I remember my grandmother would make us harvest coffee, and she would have us dry that coffee, and she would say, the money we are going to get from this coffee is what you're going to use to pay for your pictures. So every single person that would not participate in the harvesting of coffee was not getting their picture taken. So if they call you every day to go and harvest coffee, and you're saying, I'm not going, or you give your excuses, when picture day came, your picture was never taken. And she would be so serious. Don't take this one's picture. She doesn't want to do any work. And on the day of receiving of pictures, even at school, you'd go to the local school. Even teachers were excited about these pictures. People moved with their pictures. Like seriously, you know? It was crazy, man. To think that now you can take as many pictures and edit and then delete. I don't like this one. No, delete. Actually, it took me up until I made 7 years to think that there were people that lived away from the next 5 villages I knew. I thought, actually, I'm not alone. We used to think that these are the only people there. And maybe the people in the TV, because one of my uncles had bought a TV, black and white. And the hassle to watch that TV was so hard. He would have you wash your entire self, wash your hands, keep your hands to yourself. I'd remember he would even have you wear your Sunday best to sit in his living room to watch his TV. Like, seriously. What the hell? You guys, this is not so long. I mean, okay, it's long ago, but this was like 2002, 2003, there. And 2000. Okay, like from 2000 to 2003, around that. Imagine someone making you shower. Take a full shower. And then put on your best clothes to go sit and watch his black and white TV. And you were not allowed to use his seats. You had to sit down. And what's funny about the TV situation is that half the time someone spent moving the aerial and things were not showing. Oh my God. Imagine this. And this would be, you'd find that in the entire village, like 2 to 3 people owned a television set, which would take, if you came late, and maybe if the person who owned the TV doesn't like you, they would make you hold the aerial. Like, there was a TV aerial which would like look like a way to find network, so the images would show. You guys, you would stand there, and there was some cousin of mine. For most of us, every time we stood next to the television, the TV would like still do that thing. It would be like a zigzag thing. Zzz, zzz. But him, every time he held the antenna or the antenna area, TV area, the TV would show. Imagine, nigga spent most of his life holding the antenna but not watching the TV. All because the TV network liked him. Oh God, that was harsh. And you know what's funny is that he never looked at it as a bad thing. He capitalized on it. He would have us do his chores just so he could hold the antenna for us later when we wanted to go to our uncle's place to watch TV. Our uncle and his siblings would excuse him from doing any chores just so he can hold the antenna. He would tell them, I'm so tired today. I did so much work. Antenna up. Can you imagine? And everyone would feel so sorry. Oh God, you know what? Tomorrow you won't do anything because we have to watch the TV. And we didn't have electricity. Batteries. There would be batteries. There were those batteries. And I see that business still exists to this day, but I don't know where those batteries are being used now, because I feel like they've been out of use for some time. You know, the whole solar is new. Solar is very new in this country. Like, it's not an old concept. It's a very new concept. Solar first came in Uganda towards Chogam, when the Queen was coming, towards 2007 there. That's when solar became a thing. Solar was coming in because people wanted to fully watch, because the batteries, if the battery ran out, there were cables that they would hook on the TV, then hook on the batteries. So that would be your source of power. And if your battery ran out, that means they would have to get someone with a bicycle to ride, like a full day's ride to the town, and then get the battery charged. So that means there would be no TV. So you know, a lot of things were like a privilege. And then I remember when I went to holidays with my auntie. I have an auntie she's a general of some sort in the army now, but she was one of the first people I remember having bought a colored TV. She didn't just have a colored TV. She had those tapes. Now that was the first time for us to watch movies, right? Like on a DVD, there were no DVDs, there were tapes. Ooh, that was a whole different hustle, my friends. Honestly speaking, it's just crazy how far we've come. So these all things remind me of my childhood. Literally, we hustled, guys. Like we hustled to get the basic things that you people got easier, or because of your locations and stuff. That was serious hustle. As for the thief and the homeowner, there was so much security, so much security in Africa, or in Uganda in particular, because there was nothing to steal. You everyone was growing food, everyone had coffee. Every family, coffee was like, there was no one buying any food then. All our food was purely organic, like 100%. Right now we have organic food, but it's not 100% in most areas. But our food then was purely organic. The only things that people were stealing, and there was nothing to steal. We didn't have much. And it wasn't that you had much, that one had, you all didn't have these things. It was when they started introducing things like televisions, that people felt the need to, because they couldn't afford. So they started feeling the need to steal, you know? And then things, now the struggle for telephones was a whole different situation. Ooh. Whoa, 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 whoa. My great grandfather was one of the first people to own a phone, a telephone in our area. It was so huge, like a brick, with a very long antenna. You don't understand. That was the biggest flex then. People would put their telephones on their trousers and then move like they were kings or something, And the phone would ring so loudly. I don't think there is a phone right now that can ring louder than that phone, And the phone would probably, you'd have people begging, benching, and lining up to make phone calls. Even yeah, we've come a long way. Like for real. We've come a long way. We've come a long way. We didn't have perversion. I remember as a child, there was no perversion. Like those things that you see right now, where parents are trying to make their kids feel like they are in some kind of love, couples and shit like that. We didn't have that. We didn't have that. Though we had very, very early marriages, like young marriages. It was so easy for your child to be married off because it was normal. It was considered custom. As long as the person was willing to pay bride price, the child would be married off. But of course, they were not being married off to very old people. They'd be married off to people in their age range. And guess what? The families that didn't want to farm, that didn't have like farms and stuff, or gardens of food, no one wanted to give them their daughter. It doesn't matter, because they were like, the child would go and starve or something. There would be so much. Parents were so picky those days, and in a weird way, I think they cared. Education for the girl child was so hard. It was only important in some families, but there were families that didn't care for that because they were busy preparing their daughters for marriage. Imagine, as soon as you get your first period, you're being prepared for marriage. That was harsh. That was very harsh. I know some communities actually in Uganda that are still living like it's 2004. I know. I know. Whereby for them, even moving to Kampala right now is like they've boarded a plane and flown out. Like it's crazy. It's that crazy. Well, I've told you a bit of me, a bit of my story and stuff. But guys, some of us come a really long way. So that's why sometimes I tell people, when you see people trying to make things work, trying to work or do things, you just let them. Don't try to cock block people, try to do things to, impair them. You don't know how far these people have come. You don't know how hard they've worked. You don't know how much they've sacrificed. You don't know anything. So best believe me, let people let people be. Let them succeed. Help them if you can, but if you can't, let them do their thing. Because at the end of the day, you don't know where people have come from. You know, when I moved to the city, I was young, but I moved to the city permanently. I mean, by the time I crossed 2004-5 there, of course, there was a lot of development. My family was heavy in the agriculture sector, but my family grew trees. They still do to this day. My family are some of the biggest, probably the biggest great growers in Uganda. We grow trees, eucalyptus, pine. Think of any tree that can be financialized. My family was literally basis of that. You know, we had two family members that saw the future before everyone. I think mostly because they had traveled. Yeah, they're some of the first people I knew that I had traveled, like seriously. You know, I remember one of my uncles when he first bought a car. I think it was a double cabin. It was a double cabin then. That was a huge car, man. Most people are driving Volkswagens. There was another type of car that people are driving. But this guy shows up with a double cabin. You don't know. That was a big deal. He came back with all these ideas, telling the farm, we need to sell this and do this. We need to do this and do this. And because people didn't know at the time, people didn't know what he was doing. Everyone just said, I remember them saying, nah, this one has gotten spoiled. The white people have spoiled him. Let's just support him. Let him do this thing. And every single thing he suggested and they let him do, it was a success, you know. And I remember him trying to influence other families in the area to do the same. Only one family believed in him and did exactly what he was doing. And then it was then that the two families came up and became some of the strongest families in the area. And I believe they were the first families to build like with concrete, with cement. And I think the second thing he built after building that house, what was our main house at the time, he built a church for the area. That was crazy, but yeah, that's what he did. And it was the only church in over 10 villages, and it was huge. That's some next level shit, and the house was huge. He built a house for different kids. I mean, he did a lot though. He did a lot. So, but yeah, Africa, in a whole sense, Africa has come a long way, a very, very long way. That's why sometimes I always say a lot of these things, Africa still needs help, a lot of help. That's why I wonder why our leaders are taxing people, because half of these people, the struggle they've come to even get the little capital they have to do their businesses is unimaginable, the sacrifices they've made. And for you come and you want to do over 10 types of taxes on that small business, You're not considering the person is taking loans and stuff. You're not considering any of that. So it's a bit unfair. It's not even a bit, it's genuinely unfair, for these things to be happening to people. And there seem to be no way for people to be helped. It's like people are going to be kept in poverty permanently. You make people beggars, even when people have no intention of begging. They have no choice. They have no choice. That's why you're going to see that Africa always needs help, always needs help, not because they can't help themselves, but because even every time when they try to help themselves, it comes up and suppresses them to go back to zero, Hi, Abraham. And that's the problem, because you see a lot of people right now. I know friends of mine who own businesses in the middle of Kampala. Every single person has gotten a rent increment as I speak. I spoke to someone whose rent was increased by 500,000 Ugandan shillings. Do you understand how mind-blowing that is? That is how many dollars is that? Let me see. Because if the dollar is at 39, right? 39 times 200. Okay, maybe 170. Let's say 160. Okay, so imagine someone comes out of the blue and increases your rent, your current rent, by $152. Like no warning, nothing. That's a lot of money to be increasing someone's rent, especially when you've not even assessed that this person can afford it or this person is earning that. $152 is a lot of money to be increasing. And this is the minimum I know. Some people have gotten rent increments in a span of 1 week, right? For over $200. People, that's a lot of money. And why is this happening? Because the building owners are being heavily taxed and they don't want to die alone. So of course they're pushing the taxes to be shared among them and the tenants. But the tenant is already not working. Right now we have people who own shops in town or in any city. They wake up, they go to work, and they close without a sale. Look at me. I have an online business. I'm advertising on Instagram, on Snapchat. I'm posting on all socials. But there are days I wake up and go to sleep without receiving a single order. Nothing. Now, what about people who are physically paying rent? Imagine that. All I'm saying is there is a lot of unfairness, in Africa, but in Uganda in particular, because a lot of these leaders that you people have gotten are only there to suppress you, and it keeps getting worse, because even if you change leaders, it's just the same thing. It's like as if the wheel never stops turning, because you might think that, oh, maybe let's change leaders. But the next person, they act right at the start and then they do the same things all over again, Anyway, we need to, I don't know, pray for ourselves at this point, because what else is there to do? I don't see what else is left to do. And Abram, thank you. Thank you, yeah. Today was a day I thought, looking at 7,000 subscribers today got me thinking about how far we've come, how hard I've actually worked on this channel. I remember initially when I was shooting most of this content, I was building, I was constructing, I was mentally stressed. I was going through so much, but I still went ahead and kept doing my content because the content kept me going. I made so many sacrifices. I can't even tell you how many of these, because half the time we come here, we only want to tell you some things just to motivate you and make you feel better. And sometimes we don't tell you because we don't know if we are ready or if we've healed enough to talk about it, But half the time, nobody that you see making moves or having a bit of success anywhere has done nothing for it. People have made a lot of sacrifices, believe me. Especially a platform like YouTube, YouTube, you cannot buy any following. You can't advertise to spike your following. Whatever you see on YouTube is basically hard work, except a few people that they meet people who already made it on YouTube, and then these people give them shout outs, or maybe they date these people for, I don't know, a fast track or something. But for some of us, we've actually had to work very, very hard for, I don't know, whatever this is, The sacrifices are real, and honestly, I appreciate the people that started, that were there with me, because I still have people that started on this channel with me before I even made 1,000 subscribers. Because what's funny is that it took me about a year to gain 1,000 subscribers, one full year. And it would have been sooner, but I wasn't posting because I was mentally broken in that 1 year. I was going through so much. But at the end of the day, we are here. And I appreciate people that's been there, honestly. It made a whole difference. Knowingly or unknowingly, you all pushed me and made me succeed in so many things outside this event, outside YouTube. You've given me the courage to actually do this shit. So thank you. Let me go back and do what I'm supposed to do today because I'm actually really busy, but I wanted to pass by and thank you guys. And thank you so much for everything. And Lions Row, thank you for for buying super thanks from me. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'll tell you more about my stories, my childhood stories, because they're quite interesting. Maybe over time, you know. Most of my childhood stories, the most interesting ones, are before the age of 6. Yeah, before the age of 6 or 7 there. I have so many stories to tell. Maybe I'll tell them slowly over time. You never know. Ah, dear Lord. Let me go. All right. Have a wonderful weekend. I'm going to try and push and see if I can make some serious content tomorrow. God, please help me. So, and then I see what I can do or what I cannot do. Bye.